Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the return of the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We are heading into June, and it is June 1st, 1985. Some good stuff on here. Small note, there is no June 8th episode on the network, so there is a missing episode here. Anyway, we move into what is a decent beginning as June continues. The dynamic duo Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez versus Great Kabuki and Scott Casey seems like an odd pairing, and it is, but not a bad match. I believe this is still from the Texas Stadium show that they did not too terribly long ago. Should have June and July up today, maybe some of August too, depending on my schedule and my client needs. But anyway, Kabuki and Casey, an interesting pairing. Sunshine still around, kind of weird there. Her being around so much longer is just bizarre. Anyway, Adams takes some good shots at Kabuki, and that's an interesting thing. Obviously, Casey, the guy they're going to push a little bit more because he is, in fact, a Texas guy. Kabuki been around for quite a while, actually, all the way back to our 82 year where we started, but not so much as a babyface. Enziguri by Adams at a midpoint in the match. Kind of an interesting thing to see. Adams kind of in there with another martial artist because he's kind of put out as a martial artist. Breakdowns, match slows down with Scott Casey, as is to be expected. Casey's certainly not a guy who takes an abundance of risks in there. Hernandez, still on top of his game. He's only a couple months away from passing away, which is sad. And as I record this, Road Warrior Animal passed away today, as this is being recorded. So rest in peace to him for those that are unaware. But in any event, really small breakdown by the Dynamic Duo. Dynamic Duo, of course, the name for Adams and Hernandez. Good backbreaker, modified backbreaker by Scott Casey, although he puts him right in his own corner. And so Hernandez comes back in. Kabuki continues his brawling ways, comes back into the ring to try to level things off. And a strong clothesline there. Good match from the sense of lots of action, lots of back and forth. The summer is always an interesting time in World Class. It seems that the summer through about October is decent, and then they do a big holiday show at a later point, sometime usually late November, early December, which is usually good, kind of a way to blow off the show. But anyway, we do see the heels take over a bit here, and Sunshine actually gets accosted at a midpoint and potentially injured. That is certainly not good. The referee tries to get that done, but your heels are not satisfied with what's going on here, and pull up there, and they are strong, but not as decisive as they want to be. Baby faces look strong in closing here. Jim Cornette cuts another amazing promo. Gee, big surprise there, right? Cornette talks about the nature of Scott Casey. Casey being a thorn in his side. I believe Scott Casey is not quite at the level of stealing Cornette's jacket yet, but that does come a little bit later. And then also talks about the Fantastics, how the Fantastics need to be eradicated. The Midnight Express, the greatest tag team in the world, or so Cornette would have us all believe. That kind of continues there. Cornette against now what amounts to the nature of actually, they do strip Cornette of the jacket on this particular program. But regardless, Midnight Express, Skip Young, and Mike Reed are your next match here. Back at the traditional Sportatorium location. And Young and Reed, an interesting team. Young had been here for a little while before, teaming with King Parsons primarily. He seems to level up. Reed has not really found a strong position for himself in world class. However, he always is given opportunities. He's one step above an enhancement talent, maybe. Anyway, breakdown by the Midnight Express. Skip Young, though, is made to look strong throughout the match. Worth going out of your way to see if you're a fan of Young or if you're a fan of the Midnight Express bringing really good stuff out of questionable teams. I mean, not that there's anything technically wrong with this run per se, but one can easily say that Reed and Young are not at the level of the Fantastics, nor many of the other teams that the Midnight Express has had dealings with, but they still get several minutes of a match. Young takes the majority of punishment, which is a bit surprising. Would be easier, at least from my perspective, if he were the one to clean house, if he were the one to do the babyface comeback. But chop block, clothesline by the Midnight Express. They lay out Reed, and the Express is decisive. I actually see a jumping double stomp by Bobby Eaton, which is really surprising for this area or this time in history, and a second one by Dennis Condrey for your finish. Next, we move into a partially interesting singles matchup as we see Kelly Kiniski against Scott Casey. Casey, again, relatively new to the area. Kiniski not really found his full stride, but at the same time treated like a guy who is a reasonably big deal. Casey takes several shots, and including some knees right into the jaw and nose of Kiniski. Casey also hits a modified, what I would call a jerk up power slam. Kiniski better on the mat and does get a leg grapevine and the inverted atomic drop. Kiniski also does better when he's in submission holds, not limited to a bear hug. Boston Crab later for Kiniski. Kind of sad because Kiniski's got a really good look. We do see Kiniski fall in defeat. The old atomic drop, which can't believe that was Bob Backlund's finish when he was the champion. The Midnight Express does come out, try to retrieve Jim Cornette's jacket, and does for a minute, although not as permanently as would be liked. Casey also is your victor in the match. Your main event, Brian Adias and Gino Hernandez. Gino still your Texas champion, and that's a big deal. They're given probably about 8 minutes. Adias, again, back to the area, coming back with a lot more technical knowledge, coming back with a lot more consistency of prowess, coming back with a lot more desire to really, I guess, become something bigger than he is, for lack of better terminology. Grapevines and working the leg, headlocks and the like by Adias early. And really a very basic match. Nothing wrong with that, but the majority of the match is Hernandez selling, which is what it should be when you've got a heel champion. I think heels, the cool heel thing that came about in the mid-'90s, late 90s, really killed the wrestling business in a lot of ways, at least in my estimation. And, it's great going back watching these old shows because heels are heels and you know it. Anyway, so we kind of see the champion break the match down a little bit more and gets all he thinks he wants out of it. There's a spot that's just a random kick that doesn't look very good at all by Adias, and finally we do see Gino Hernandez sneak over with the finish and gets the win. But we'll be back with more right after this.